throat is in the neck. चलो okay. Stream time. Okay, MT5. Let's load up the MT5. MetaTrader 5. Beautiful. Beautiful, isn't it? Let's do trade history. Actually, before we do, yeah, perfect. Trade history, and this was it. Do we have auto scroll on? I don't want auto scroll. Yeah. Okay.
She's so soft, right? Her tummy is.
All right. So on Monday, I believe it was Monday, or let's see the date. The date was 6th. I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. So on Tuesday, I'm gonna just recap this. Let's see. Screen. Let's do this one. So on Tuesday, I ended up taking a trade. So on Tuesday, I ended up taking the trade, which I called off for a buy on gold, and I went off the stream because I had to go get some things done, and it was taken around at this point, and it was taken around 44.60, sorry, 44.50, and the next candle. So basically, the idea was for price to continue to break above this previous high. All right, I'm gonna do this one more time. So on Tuesday, I ended up taking a buy, which I mentioned in the stream that I have some things to do, so I'm gonna turn off the stream, but I will update later on. Now, the reason why I took this buy is because we tried to break above this area of 44.50 or 44.70. So at 44.70, 44.80. Let's do this area. 44.81. So you can see this trade here. It took profit and it was set up to perfection. On Tuesday, I set up a trade, which I had to go later on to get some things done, so I wasn't on stream. But the reason why I took this buy here is because we had 1, 2, and this third time trying to break above, but couldn't. So fourth time when it tried to break above, that was something that I was interested in, for the price to break above and continue to push higher. As you can see, I took a buy around 44.60, and the price ended up continuing up to 44.95, 96, and that was my take profit. It was set up to perfection, and that was just a recap of the trade. Let's turn on auto scroll, and Lord have mercy. It's like about 100 pips. So let's do some analysis, right? Let's take a look at gold and do some analysis and see if we can continue to push down. Gold, come on, open up. Let's do some fresh analysis. Whenever you come to charts, make sure that you're doing fresh analysis so you're able to take a look at price with the fresh pair of eyes. It helps because you're not carrying the old narrative with you. So we're rejecting this area. So on daily time frame, price is bearish. 4-hour, we're sort of bearish. We're rejecting this area. Sort of, we're rejecting this area. So we have identified we have a resistance. We'll call this resistance. Let's make this a bit smaller. Right? We have identified resistance, and we are going to identify support. I would go down to, so on 30-minute, yeah, this is resistance. But as far as support, the most recent support that I could see is down here. Yeah, that's the most recent support. If price could end up breaking this support, we could continue to push down to these lows here, which is about 100 pips. That's insane. Yeah, that's good enough. So if I'm looking for a buy, I want price to break above this area, break above this resistance zone, and then continue to push higher to at least 44.46. But on the other hand, since there's a lot of resistance in this area, what I would want for price to do is start breaking below 44.18 and continue to push down, and that will be sell. So let's identify that as support. Basically, you want to see how this 4-hour closes, and based on that, you could anticipate volume to continue in that direction. Let's see. ZEC. Damn. Ooh. It just took a nosedive. Straight nosedive, bro. What the hell? Then we have area of rejection right here. The whole market, if you look on the left hand side, no, everything is red. Everything is red. Now we do have New York session, and as New York session bring volume, then you can anticipate for price to continue in a certain direction, which could change some of these to green. Not ZEC, because motherfucker is 14% down, bro. That's crazy amount. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, this is just a waiting game. This whole thing here, this whole thing is just consolidation. Like, it's there's no breakout here, which means that it's gonna go up to the resistance level. It's gonna reject. It could reject and come down all the way down to the support level, or it could just do whatever, do some tricks in the resistance. It doesn't really matter. But as long as there's a resistance, I'm looking for a clean break above, for the next candle to continue to push higher, break above the previous high, and that will be something sort of like an indication for price to continue to move forward. Jeez. We flipped 4-hour. 4-hour is flipped. If 4-hour closes the way it is right now, then I'm anticipating for price to continue to push up. But that depends on how 4-hour closes. We still have 35 minutes. Let's see how Bitcoin is. Bitcoin daily coming down. So Bitcoin, we have the support area here around 86,000. Initially, if we could get some push, yeah, monthly is bearish. So this here could just flip bearish and continue down to the lows of 74,000. This month we end up getting 74,000. And then from 74,000, I would be interested in buying. That would be like the perfect buying point, 74,000. But overall, Bitcoin, Ethereum, same thing. Yeah, what I do see happening as the price is breaking below its current wick is for price to continue to push down to these lows here. That is something that I'm looking forward. Well, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to, but I do anticipate happening on Ethereum. And once again, the price, it will be a good area for buying pressure to come in around 2181. 2181 would be a good area for price to continue to push higher. That is, and by the way, this is weekly time frame, so in order for this to unfold, it will require some time, right? So it's just something that if we closed red this week, yeah, 100% I'm gonna be more on sells than buying. That's just what it looks like, right? If we see gold, yeah, see, we're rejecting the resistance area. If we close within this area, if the price closed within the resistance area, that means that has no indication for it to continue to push higher. Yeah, sure, it can, but the the odds, the odds or confluence or whatever you want to call it, that is not in your favor for you to buy. Price needs to break above the 44.35 area in order for it to continue to push higher. Although it is setting up, because there's volume in the session, it is setting up for price to continue to push higher. So if I could get an opportunity to enter buy here, I wouldn't mind doing so. Catch my drift. Okay, 30-minute closed. Closed right at resistance. Could I have a buy stop right here? So what I'm thinking is open a buy stop as the price flips bullish, enter into a buy for price to continue to push up to these areas. Right? Why is the color so strong? Yeah, that's better. So price to break above this area, break above, what is it, 44.34 to continue to drive up. What are we saying? I think this looks good. This should be okay. Arrow. Let's color. Resistance, support. Yeah. And let me make sure that I upload the link to YouTube link to Instagram story. Let people know we have 2 viewers. Let's see. But yeah, the idea is because the 30-minute, sorry, the 30-minute here, it doesn't have the up top wick. Top wick is basically, you see here this line, right? This small line. This big line down here. That means price went down to this area. So what I'm looking for is for price to break above and continue to push higher, because it hasn't pushed up at all. just yet. So if it's gonna move, if it's gonna go up, if the price is gonna go, let's say if bullish, then it needs to break above this candle to continue to push higher. So I don't want to enter a buy right now because as of right now, we're still within this resistance area. Resistance is basically where price you've seen in the past is rejecting. So as you can see, we're sort of like in a consolidation here, and it's not ideal for me to buy within the consolidation area. Trade with Tayyib. You've seen in the past is rejecting. So as you can see, let's see. Link. Live trading now. Yeah, live trading. Upload, boom, boom, bam, beam. I'm gonna get some water. Also, I'm learning how to edit, so it will allow me to produce more real format, and because I want to grow, this channel, and I want to be able to reach out to more people, and I think that it's necessary for me to do it through reels, and then collaborations later on. But at least get some activity going on my page to evidence that, hey, something is happening. There's movement here. So yeah, you should be able to, you should be seeing more reels from, inshallah, from February, because if I'm learning now, I should be able to start editing by the end of this week. I'm doing it in Adobe Premiere. Yeah. All right, so we're starting to reject this area. Let's see. Reject. But yeah, I mean, right now it's just waiting game. There is not much to do. Let's take a look at silver. Where is silver? Because silver and gold recently have been correlated, which means that if silver is going up, gold is going up. And you can see silver is down. It's probably down from yesterday and today. Same thing. You can see gold. So look at this, and now look at gold. And this is daily, both daily time frame. 1, 2, 2 red candles. Let's analyze silver and see where. If you take a look right off the bat, you've identified a resistance area, basically where price has rejected from. This is very simple, just simple analysis that I'm going to do, that I would do looking at any pair. From top-down analysis on a weekly time frame, what we have seen is that we went up, the price went up, it didn't break above the previous candle's high. So this right here, it didn't break above the previous candle's high, so that we can identify the price in a short term. In a short term, it's still bearish. It's not bearish meaning that it's in a downtrend. And now we can also identify that in this whole week of last 4 days, price has not moved negative at all. So there is a chance for price to continue to move down and have a lower wick. As you can see, Now, sometimes there's instances where there's so much volume in the market where there's no wick at all, which means that price goes up to a certain area and doesn't retrace back. It's just volume coming in. Like you can see, for example, this big candle here that let's see, this candle here, there is no wick, but the next candle, it was green at one point. The stick that you see was actual green candle at one point, and then price continued to come down, come down, come down. It went all the way down to 69 where the stick is, but it retraced up. Now, since price opened at 79, it closed at 72. That's why this candle is red, right? Now, so it's common for candles to have a wick, basically going to a certain level and coming back and leaving that as a wick. Given that, the reason why I explained that is because on this candle there is no wick, so I'm anticipating for price to break its own low, break 72, and have some sort of bottom wick. So short term, very short term, it's bearish. Clip that. Oy, don't close. Sheets. All right, I was able to fix Google Sheets. So now I'm going to be able to it's at 25 minutes into the stream. Importance of lower wick. Yeah, man. It doesn't look like we're closing above. Doesn't look like we're closing above. See, that's why it's important to identify where price is rejecting from and where price, can reject and go up from. Because if I had taken a buy right here, if I had taken a buy because it's breaking above the previous candle's high, I would have been in profit for a little bit, and then now I would have been back in the negative. That's why it's important to identify resistance. You'll know where price is rejected, so you would have to wait for confirmation candle to close above. So price to close above or starts creating a high, breaking its own high, then you will have a confirmation that we're breaking above this resistance area for price to continue to push higher. All right, run it up, run up the clips. We have 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Importance of resistance. Yeah. Okay. All right. See, these are the wicks. Like you see these sticks. Price was here at a certain point. Price was here at 44.09 at a certain point. But this is 4 hour, right? This is 4 hour. So if you go down to 1 hour, you will see that it went down, but it continued to push back up. And as you go in the lower time frame, you'll be able to dissect more and more that what exactly was this wick. by going into lower time frame and seeing, oh, okay, you know what? It started rejecting around this area in a 15-minute, and we could see that it came up, went down, and then it came up again. Price to break above 44. It's only 1 minute left in this candle, so I'm not really confident enough for me to take a buy, because I'm gonna wait for this candle to close, and if it closes bullish, then I would enter a buy. So for that, let's switch screens and go to MetaTrader. Yeah. Let's turn this off. Let's go on a 15-minute time frame. Let's bring this. Yeah. So it closed red. It closed bearish. Could we break above? 30-minute. Yeah, we're at a resistance level. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. The reason being is just simply that we're at this resistance where price has rejected quite a few times. What to say? Who's to say that this 4-hour is not gonna close red, and then we could continue to test these lows down at the bottom of this range one more time, right? I've got one viewer. Who is this viewer? Do they want to reveal themselves? I'm gonna see if there is any news events coming up. Forex factory. Unemployment claims already done. Didn't even notice it. 7:30 a.m. You know, we're at the top of the range. I'm gonna go for a sell here. I'm gonna go for a sell, but I want the price to not go down so quick. Hold on. Yeah, already gone down a bit too much. So if I sell here, my stop loss will be above this range. All right, gotten into a sell. So yeah, so the reason for a sell here is because we're breaking below this range, which is yeah. So the reason for the sell here is because we're in the range right now. We're at the top of the range. 4-hour is bearish. 30-minute and 1-hour is bullish, but I'm anticipating for price to continue to test these lows of the range. Hence, I entered a sell. Mainly, the idea initially was to enter a buy if we broke above this red line, but it's struggling to break above, and it's at the top of the range, which means that there is resistance there. In the past, price has gone up to that area and reversed. So that's kind of the idea behind this trade. $200. So how I'll manage risk on this trade is if price tries to continue to break above its own high, I will have to exit at least 50% of my position, and the rest of the 50% I'm willing to lose at the break of the previous candle's high. That's how I'll manage my position. Be right back. In order to stay in this trade, I want this 4-hour to close bearish. Essentially, I want this 1-hour to close bearish as well. Otherwise, it's very, very risky to stay in this trade. So this candle needs to continue to break below this candle's low and stay. Nice. All right, so at this point, the 1-hour has flipped bearish. The 1-hour is red. It just needs to stay below this area for next 5 minutes. .30-minute is breaking. Well, it's not breaking anything. It's just bearish. 1-hour flipped red. 4-hour is bearish. I'm gonna bring the stops above the current candle's high and break even sort of point. Break even, not managing. At this point, I'm gonna manage my position. So I'll bring the stop. I'll keep the stop right above the previous this candle's high, and if the price rejects and comes back to my entry, that's where I'll close 50%. Mm, mm. Nice. One minute for the 4 hour to close. All right, I'm gonna close as it comes. Yeah, I'm gonna close 70% of my position. So I took off 70% of the position in profits, and for the rest to run at break even. If it comes up, hits my break even point, it is what it is. If not, it can continue to push down. The reason why I closed about 75% is because we're approaching a resistance area, and I don't want all of my gains to be wiped out by, if price continues to reject this area. All right, let me log that into my let's see, 1:8:49 minutes into stream gold sells. You know what? We're at a support area. I'm gonna close the rest of my position. I'm gonna close the rest of the position right here. All right, so I'm completely out of the trade. It was a good trade. History. Let's see. 223. So overall, $235 in profit. So this is a FTMO account, FTMO demo FTMO account. I'm practicing. Let's say if I want to get an FTMO account, which is a funded account, what they do is they give you a certain amount of money you can trade with, and if you stay within their restrictions requirements, you can be a trader for them. So I have this account from them. I'm using that account. But today was a good day. This was perfectly executed. Sell from resistance area, and if we close bullish here, I would anticipate for price to try to come up to these areas again. But I'm not going to be here for that.